The great grid remembered him before he was born. Most people think memory belongs to the past, a childhood photo, a smell that returns, a name you forgot you knew. But Elias learned something worse. Memory can exist without you. It can be stored somewhere you've never been. It can wait for you. It can recognize you before you ever recognize yourself. And when a system remembers you before you're born, it doesn't feel like destiny. It feels like a trap that's been prepared for years. It began with a normal phone call. His mother's voice, casual, tired. "I found a box of your baby stuff. Do you want it? Or should I throw it out?" Elias almost said no. He didn't want anything from the past. He didn't want additional versions of himself. But something in him hesitated. Not nostalgia, instinct. He said, "Keep it. I'll pick it up." 2 days later, the box sat on his kitchen floor. Cardboard, tape, old handwriting. He opened it like he was disarming something. Inside, baby clothes, a hospital bracelet, a folded birth certificate copy, a tiny envelope labeled "First Photo." He told himself it was normal. He told himself it was safe. Then he pulled out a thin folder, not from his mother, not from the hospital. A folder made of stiff grey paper, unmarked. He didn't recognize it. He turned it over. No logo, no stamps, no name. Just one detail that made his throat tighten. A small symbol pressed into the corner, not a brand. A shape that felt familiar, like a pattern he'd seen in the wrong places. Elias sat down, slowly opened the folder. Inside were see-through sheets, like old archival paper, and on the first page, typed in clean black text, subject, Elias V, status, pre-registered, date of entry, redacted. Elias stared. He flipped the page. There was a list, not medical, not legal, a list of observations that felt mechanical. Pattern sensitivity, high. Response to anomaly, sustained. Correction, resistance, increasing. Containment viability, unknown. Elias's fingers went cold. This wasn't a childhood record. This was an assessment. He scanned the bottom of the page for signatures, agencies, anything human. There was none. Only another line. Reference, before event. Elias whispered, "What event?" His apartment was silent. He turned the page and saw something that made his body react before his brain could. A photograph, not of him as a baby, a photo of a hallway he recognized, the kind of hallway his life had been orbiting for weeks. Fluorescent lights, institutional walls, and a door in the distance. A door marked 0. Elias dropped the folder. It hit the floor softly, like paper shouldn't make a sound, but the sound felt too loud. He stared at it, because the photo looked old, grainy, slightly faded, as if it had been taken years ago, before he ever saw that door, before he ever knew it existed. Elias picked the folder back up. He flipped through quickly, heart thudding. Most pages were blank, or nearly blank. Some had faint impressions, like something had been pressed into them and removed. Then he found a page titled Milestone, Year 1. Under it, a single printed line. He responded to the hum. Elias frowned. He didn't know what that meant. Then he pulled out the envelope labeled First Photo. He opened it. Inside was a picture of him as a baby, sitting in a high chair. Bright kitchen, smiling mother, normal. But Elias's eyes went to the background, to the corner of the photo. A small radio on the counter, and taped to the radio, a tiny sticky note. 4 letters, handwritten, sync. Elias's chest tightened. He held the photo close. The handwriting didn't look like his mother's, and the note wasn't playful. It wasn't "Don't forget milk." It looked like a label, like an instruction. Elias flipped the photo over. On the back, in faint pencil, a date, his first birthday, and below the date, played tone. He stopped crying. Elias's skin prickled. He remembered nothing of his first birthday, but his body suddenly felt like it did, not as a memory, as a pressure, like something inside him recognized the idea. Tone, hum, sync. He looked back at the folder, at the word pre-registered. Elias whispered, "No." not denial, a refusal to accept a shape his life was being pushed into. The folder had one more envelope inside, unmarked. He opened it. A small cassette tape, old, black plastic, handwritten label, EV. 2 years. Elias stared at it confused. Who still uses tapes? Then he realized something that made his stomach drop. His mother didn't own a tape recorder. Not anymore. Not in decades. So where did this come from? He searched his apartment for something that could play it. He didn't have anything. But the moment he thought that, his phone vibrated. Once, he picked it up. A notification appeared from an app he didn't remember installing. Archive player. There was a single button. Play. Elias stared. His thumb hovered. Everything in him screamed not to. But curiosity wasn't the real force anymore. It was the sensation of being led. Like his life was a corridor. And someone kept placing doors in front of him. He tapped play. A crackle. Tape hiss. Then, a baby's voice. Not words. Just small sounds. A child is babbling. Then another sound beneath it. A low tone. Almost too low to hear. A humming frequency. And as the tone played, the baby's sounds changed. The baby stopped babbling, stopped moving, then softly began to mimic the tone, not intentionally, as if the child's body was responding automatically. Elias sat frozen, listening. Then the recording changed. A new voice, an adult voice, not his mother, not a man he recognized. Calm, observational. It said, he locks onto it. A pause, like he remembers. A pause, like he's been waiting. Elias's hands shook. The voice continued. We don't know why this subject stabilizes around it. Another pause. But he does. Tape hiss. Then the final line. Almost too quiet. The grid knew him first. The recording stopped. The app closed. The notification disappeared. Elias stared at his phone like it was a living thing, because it wasn't just proof anymore. It was contact. Elias needed air. He stood up too fast, walked to the window, looked down at the street like it was a different planet. People moved like their lives belonged to them. Elias didn't feel like that anymore. He went back to the box, pulled out the hospital bracelet. His name was printed on it, his date of birth, normal. Then he noticed something else, a tiny printed code on the edge of the bracelet. Not a barcode, not a serial number he recognized, a pattern of short marks, almost like a condensed waveform, a rhythm. He stared until his eyes hurt. Then he did something he didn't want to do. He opened his voice recorder again. He hated that he had one now. Like it had become necessary. He spoke one sentence. My birth was normal. He played it back, under his voice. A faint signal, not loud, not obvious, but present. And the signal felt familiar, like the marks on the bracelet. Elias held the bracelet up to the screen, compared them. He wasn't sure. But his gut reacted like they matched. His breath caught. He whispered, "That's impossible." Then a thought arrived in him. Not a voice, not a sentence, a pressure of meaning. It's not impossible. It's recorded. Elias closed his eyes, because if his birth had a code, then his life was never private. It wasn't even new. That night, he tried to sleep. He failed. He lay in the dark with his eyes open. At some point, his mind did what it had been doing more and more. It tried to assemble fragments into a shape, but as it assembled, something strange happened. He didn't remember his childhood. He remembered a hallway, not the hallway from the building, a different one, wider, lower ceiling, blue-gray walls. He remembered being small, not as a body, as a viewpoint, like he was close to the floor. And he remembered a sound, a hum, a tone that made everything feel safe. Then inside the memory, someone spoke, not a voice he recognized, but the words were clear. Good, he recognizes it. Elias's eyes snapped open. He sat up, sweating, because he understood the horror. This wasn't a dream. It had the texture of a file being opened. A record is being accessed, and the memory didn't feel like his mind wandering. It felt like something loading. Elias whispered, "Stop." The hum faded instantly, but the residue remained, like static on skin. Elias went to the folder again, hands shaking, flipped pages until he found the last sheet. It was blank at first glance, but when he angled it under the lamp, he saw indentations, pressure marks, hidden text. He took a pencil and shaded the page lightly, as they do with old impressions. Words emerged, a single sentence. He will think he's discovering it. Elias swallowed. There was more. He shaded further. A second sentence. But he is returning. Then the last line appeared, faint but undeniable. He has always been in the file. Elias dropped the pencil. He felt nauseous. Not because it was poetic or dramatic, because it was procedural, like a system note, like a log entry. It didn't read like prophecy. It read like a check mark. Elias stood in his kitchen, holding the baby photo, the sticky note on the radio. Sync. He looked at his own baby face, the innocent, accidental version of him. Then he looked at the folder on the table, and for the first time he understood the true shape of the fear. Not that the grid exists, but it has been near him for his entire life, not following him, waiting for him. And if it remembered him before he was born, then his choices weren't being monitored. They were being anticipated. Elias set the photo down carefully. He opened his notebook, and instead of asking questions, instead of trying to map it, he wrote one sentence slowly. If you remembered me first, then you made room for me. He capped the pen. In the silence, his phone vibrated once. A new notification. No app icon. No sender. Just text on black. Welcome back. Elias didn't scream. He didn't run. He just stared at the screen and felt the cold, final understanding settle in. He wasn't being introduced to the grid. He was being reclaimed.